Oh
That's one
man.
of the pitfalls of African households. They don't teach you how to think. For you to
Mm.
think, you have to make mistakes. A lot of Africans I know, when you meet them, they're hustling and bustling, and they have
Yes.
responsibilities back home, and that paycheck means a lot to them.
Tell me something you think I don't know.
One of the biggest um, reasons small businesses fail is due to growth.
Inability to grow.
No, growth.
What does that mean?
Growing too fast.
Come again. Growing too fast
Yeah,
can lead to them failing.
correct.
That I didn't know. I thought growth was positive.
Not always.
You've shared so much here today where, it started way early, from Skittles, like literally,
Yeah.
to what you did when you were in the army serving
Yeah.
this nation, and making money from,
And
drunken
Africans
soldiers.
don't know about military, by the way.
Yeah.
Africans don't appreciate the benefit that the military can provide you. People
Yes.
look at it as a way to get papers. That wasn't how I looked at it. Right.
Ah.
Now, as active duty, I was like, man, $1,500 a month. I could get promoted first every 6 months, then after every year, and every promotion is $400 extra. If my bills is only $400, I could save $1,000 a month for a year, and then increase that by to 1,300, 1,400. So by the time I left the military, before I started selling goods in Brazil, I had a good for a young, 22-year-old.
Yes.
I had about over 60 grand in my account, you know, and I drove a decent car, and I was fine. And that's not counting the retirement that I saved up of about like 22,000 at the time, you know.
D- d- d-
So
yeah.
the military is such beneficial. And then when I got out, what got me started in my real estate business was my VA loan, where I bought up my first four family at 0%. Right? There's veterans benefits. There's a
Yes.
lot that
Yes.
people don't know in the African world. And if you're here by yourself
Yes.
and you want stability and structure
Yes.
to help people back home, that's one of the easiest routes.
Thanks for that nugget. Because I'm looking at it as you mentioned in the military. All that I've heard around our circle of, not friends, but people from our communities in Africa, the military is looked at like that, right? It's looked at like, maybe it's a path to like, getting papers and citizenship in the US. Nothing beyond that. A
Mhm.
business minded person like you, here you are just, just showing us all of these things that, one can use the military for. You're not getting it for
Mhm.
free. You're going there, giving your service and leveraging whatever the military can provide for you, like
Mhm.
the VA loan you talked about in housing. A lot of Africans, I know a lot of Africans that left the military, they're veterans right now. I know why I put that in quotes. They're veterans now, but they've not leveraged any benefit from like a VA loan,
Yeah.
like getting their first housing or anything like that. Because my observation is that when it comes to our community, information which is key is so hard to tap into
Mhm.
because like I don't know how to describe it, but it's not a conversation that we have when we sit. We'll talk about food, music, and dance and whatever. But as soon as you cross into something, I dare say serious, where you can educate somebody and change their lives, there's a lot of secretive or just holding back information around our community, and I don't know where that comes from. I can't put a finger on where that comes from.
Oh, it comes from them not knowing themselves. Like a lot of things I tell you, I have to pay people to teach. You know,
Mm,
I
mm,
just I got tired of trying or not knowing, and I just for example, we registered for for you to be a government contractor, you have to have SAM registration, right?
ah,
And that's a simple online registration, they say. that a small business is supposed to be able to do. However, when we did it, we couldn't
Yes.
get registered for the first time. I paid 2 grand, and that person did it in 3 weeks. Fantastic. Why would I waste, 5 hours
Wow.
of my time when I could just pay 2 grand? And then for my first contract, I made 10. Like I made myself a profit. You get what I'm saying to you? But I had
Yes.
to suffer for that
Yes.
2 grand
Yes.
when I let it go. So that's what I'm talking about. Like the information is not even there for us. And even if it is there, it is so mangled and so twisted up that it's very hard for you to kind of get your foot in.
I
So
like
a
that.
lot of Africans won't give you the information. What I wish a lot of Africans talk about more is their failures, because
Oh,
we don't talk about that enough. Because I feel like I've repeated a lot of mistakes, and
yes.
if I had someone telling me and guiding, or
Yes.
a group that you could join
Yes.
that will talk about key things and guide you through it, that would really help. You know, because it'll put more of your thoughts into perspective.
It,
You know.
bro, thank you for mentioning that. Thank you for mentioning that. There's a lot of things that I brought up that are sometimes based on just what we think the case is,
Yeah.
and you've rectified me a lot, and I love that. That's why not only do I love having a conversation with you, but I think people will benefit because a lot of I brought up a bunch of things that is based on what I think we think, right? And this example that you just gave, where I've heard a lot of people say we don't share information. You gave it a twist. You said we don't share information because to share it you have to have it, right? And so you got information that you knew to get that valuable information. You spent money in getting it because you're like, I'm tired of just getting, half information. I want to the full package and pay for it, right? And if I take anything from today's conversation, I'll tell my people that if you're out there trying to make something happen for you, trying to, take that next step on the ladder, and there's information you're not getting, maybe put aside, invest in yourself in actually paying for that information because that track will be faster
Yeah.
and less failures that way. Let's
Yeah.
not be afraid in investing in information that will kind of like, shorten that
I wouldn't even
experience of
look at it
yours.
as failure, because even if you get the information, you will still probably fail.
Yeah, right,
Through
right,
trial, you
right.
just have to be willing to understand where you went wrong and what you could do.
Yes.
I would say you paying for the information is
Mm-hmm.
saving you the opportunity cost.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I mean
Right,
by opportunity
right.
cost?
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
cost of not doing something that
Because of
you
not
makes
in
you
action.
do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes much more costly um, than you doing it yourself or not doing it at all.
Mm,
You know?
mm. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Bro, as we round up, there's certain things I have to go to because this is STEM to Roots, and
yeah,
what we were trying to do, the conversations we are trying to bring here, how us who left the continent and are out in the Western world and staying there for various reasons. People have different reasons,
yeah.
but what is most commonly spoken about is the opportunities. Is in contrast to home, is conveniences and just their way of living that the West has afforded them to adjust to, where they look in contrast to home and they know it's not something they will get fully, and people have made these choices to stay away from home. I make sure in sitting here and talking to people as they share that there's no judgment there. Not only am I in their shoes, but there's no judgment there because people have valid reasons, right? But we've been trying to think about how can you not be home? How can you be away from home wherever you are and still have an impact if that's what you're interested in, and still contribute to home, and still be somebody that will do enough at home, and I'm going beyond mom, dad, and siblings, but just Africa in general, and still feel like, all right, this is something I'm able to do. Has that been something you thought about?
Oh yeah. So, man, we tried many things. So I think even with my business, what I tried to do one time is get call centers in Nigeria. Yeah,
Ah,
because there's internet. So
support.
and
Yes,
it's the English speaking country. So
yes,
why can't I? And there's 7 hours difference.
yes,
So why can't I have an emergency person picking up all my phone calls in Nigeria and returning them and using the Google call,
yes,
dial pad, what they call it.
yes.
The pitfalls to that is just like Africa is not really set up to meet the new age. So if you are young like me, you're looking for the ease of doing business and convenience of doing business. Doing business in Africa is very hard, and it's high rewards, but with anything with very good profitability upside, also has a very good failure rate.
Mm.
You see, so I quickly determined that that model wouldn't work because the people that were doing the calls for me, they just knew I was here and they just did their own thing. But Nigeria is not a place where you can go to the store for an hour and come back on time. You're gonna get stuck in traffic in Lagos. So it's
Ah,
like I noticed like calls when I'm getting picked up, and there's no problem. I understand um, they meant well, but maybe it wasn't just the right fit.
hmm.
So I think in Africa you have to source young companies coming up.
Yes.
I met an African today. It's funny. He actually sent me his link. He's creating a college in Nigeria, and he's a
Huh.
young guy. He's not a full plumber yet, but he's a
Yes.
journeyman plumber. So he's still under a plumber being bossed
Yes.
around. And while he's doing that, doing side jobs, he's creating a university in Nigeria. And I just said, huh? And he said, yeah, I have a small logistics company as well. I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, I live, and he lives in a apartment where he shares with 6 people. So his rent is like $200 a month. Then I started talking to him. I was like, so why are you living like that? You making good enough money to do all this? He goes, well, I set up a lot of stuff in Nigeria, and I don't know if I don't want to just let it go. I'm tied to them. I'm emotionally invested in it to see their success.
Yes.
So so he's over there like just working his butt away, going back to Nigeria, and setting up the school, and then
Yes.
has a group of team and family members that he trusts, and he could deal with the networking back and forth and flying back
Uh-huh.
and forth all the time. And he doesn't work a corporate job, so he doesn't have leave requirements, right? He could just get up and leave whenever he wants.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Now take that to most Africans that have
Yes.
corporate jobs, leave requirements.
Yes.
You can't fly to Nigeria when things go wrong.
Right.
You have to
Right. Right.
and even if you fly there, it's not like you won't have 20 family members expecting something from you.
Every time you land.
Yeah,
Yes.
every time you land. So it's very costly. So we think about that twice before we even make that kind of journey or trip, right? I think what people need to look at in Africa is growing. With the age of internet, we're getting a lot more talented people show their faces online.
Yes.
And then you have to jump on the back of successful people,
Yes.
true, tested, and tried successful people that have done it and making money through them. And one of the things I
Wow.
wish I took part in that I wasn't able to fully was
Yes.
we knew a lady that
Yes.
was she started 3 microfinance companies for other people, but she helped run the entire thing from start to finish. And those companies have
Mm.
been like, one of the biggest one is about $2 billion big in Nigeria. And she started 2 of them for them. It was not in her name, they just paid her a ton of money to do it. Right? And she was looking to set up her microfinance company. And in Nigeria, there's no known as banks, so you need a ton of money to even get into it. Nonetheless,
Right.
at that point, that kind of funds was available, but there was no way I
Yes.
could do anything because I had other plans here. You see, those kind of
Right.
people is who I would to invest in. And for me, once I clear the
Ah.
plate, that's who I'll be looking to. So that's how I think people need to invest in Africa. You go to your country, you look at who's doing something that is unique, that is a need, and then you
Yes.
invest. Another thing I, was thinking about
Yes.
is, I'm not sure about other African countries, but Nigeria, there's no real sewage system, right? Now, septic is becoming very popular, right? So people having their own in-ground septic system where all the poop they flush in
Yes.
their house goes in. A truck
Yes.
comes, pumps it out.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm saying
Yeah.
there are a lot
Yes.
of businesses with those trucks, And I'm saying, even after you pump those trucks out, you could do a lot of stuff with the waste, right? But a lot of people don't know this and they don't think about it. And there's no real industry in Nigeria that is big enough to do that. And that line of work in Nigeria is seen as a
Of
lower
course.
standard of
Oh,
work,
yes. Yes.
right? But
Yes.
it's very high standard because now the need is growing. So Nigeria is having a busting middle class, and they're
Yes.
dying to be serviced, but there's no services for them.
Yes. Uh,
And that's what I
Sharif.
think about. So while
Uh,
you're here, you have to find the right people that are already doing that work. But then, do you have the energy to set it up? Like buy a small company that's already doing it, that doesn't even think its company is worth much, which to you
yes.
is worth a lot, and
Yes.
scale the business.
It-
You know?
you're making it hard to make this an hour conversation. I'm going to sum up some of what you said because you dropped a lot of things here.
Mm,
Just so listeners know, I'm trying to figure out how us outside the continent can still contribute. You
mm,
started with acknowledging how hard it is to work with back home. You even said Africa is not set up to meet up the new age
yeah,
because infrastructure. You're admitting to the fact that we have all these issues.
yeah,
In saying that, I thought you will keep pounding how it's impossible. You shifted over to how there's ample opportunity. The
mm,
need is there,
mm,
where you mentioned how we can be here, look for somebody who is doing it successfully in
mm,
impacting people in setting up companies, hence the microfinancing company, and invest in that. Where you're not giving, you're not being a humanitarian. You will
mm.
gain something from investing in that, but you will impact, back home. You'll be able to help back home
But
whilst you have a return in your investment.
you're also doing it right.
You're doing it.
Legally. So we did something like that where I helped my sister set up legally.
Yes, yes.
We used the Nigerian entity that was a sub to an entity in the US. And the
Ah,
reason we structure it that way is because, the goal is for the company to go boom and get real big. And if it does, you're gonna have global reach. But
right, right away.
if you're treating an American company in certain ways, your senator or your congressman can get involved. So you could get legislators involved, people with teeth that will actually fight for you, right? In Nigeria, if your business is solely in the Nigerian economy and set up in a Nigerian entity, it's very hard for them to have teeth, right?
Ah.
So you have to be set up properly, little things like that, you
Set
know.
up properly, doing it right,
Yeah.
hence setting it up properly, and you will benefit from that. You will
Hopefully,
not. It's not. Yeah, hopefully, right. That's what
hopefully,
I'm.
you
That's
have to
what I
be
mean.
open to failing. A lot of
Right.
times I talk to
Absolutely.
Nigerians and other
Absolutely.
Africans. They're like, "Oh, I send money home all the time and nothing ever came of it." But I'm like, "Well,
Yes.
that's the benefit of doing business. If you send money to seven different people, you just congratulations, you just now have seven different ways you could fail. Each success rate of businesses in Nigeria is like 20 to 30%. So all those seven people have 20 to 30% of success. So if they all fail, why are you surprised? It's not surprising,
Huh.
especially if you're
Huh.
not giving them enough. Like, what do most Africans do? They'll tell you, oh, I need 100,000 naira or, $10,000 to do this piece of business. What do? We give them five. You give him
Yeah.
five, what is he gonna do over there? He's gonna cut corners because he actually only needs 40%. So he's already gonna cut corners based on the half you gave him. Or you're building a house and the guy takes transport, invests his time. Just think about it, how much time you spend doing project management work. And the guy managing your house in Nigeria, managing construction, you go ahead and give him 10,000 naira, which is like cheap money. That's like,
Yes.
$15. Why do you expect him not to steal from you?
Yes.
You're not really satisfying his needs. You don't know what his
Yes.
needs are.
Yes.
So you haven't really primed him properly to do what you need him to do. So
In order for you to succeed.
yeah, so a lot of Africans, oh, I send money home, my house, this, my house, that. Well, that's the problem. Your approach to it is just very different.
What?
Yeah.
Bro, so again, here you are, casually just dropping nuggets. So if you're out here, you're in the US, you're out in the West, and you think you're working on a project whatever capacity it is, whether it's for
Mm.
yourself, building something for yourself, starting a business, or helping a family member start a business, and you do it, I'm glad I can say half-assly,
Mm.
by sending half of what the person, or maybe together you guys calculate that the person needed, and expect them not to cut corners, you're fooling yourself.
Yeah.
If you go ahead and trust up to 7 people, you just picked a random number to send money to do a certain thing, that's 7 ways to fail. If you pick somebody that is running a project for you, and you're not paying them enough where you're meeting their needs, they will find a way to meet their needs,
Yeah.
and if that way is through what you're sending them for your project, well, you're losing money there. I think all of that comes to, you know us knowing where we come from, understanding it to the T, in knowing whether it's how to run a project, how to approach back home, how to do things at home, and actually, raise, your chances of succeeding. If we don't think about all these things that you're mentioning, we fail, and the more we fail in that manner where things are not done right, the more we sit back and actually fold our hands, because we don't want to keep just throwing our money down the drain.
Yeah.
This, I don't. I have a whole slew of things that will take us places that will go past what I want to put together.
Yeah.
I just want you to promise me when I come back, you will say yes, because
Of course, Mike. No, I always enjoy talking to you. Like I like the
oh my
work you're
God.
doing with providing information to Africans.
Whew.
I do think it's necessary. I've tried to provide information. I've even tried to assist in other ways, coach,
Yes,
pull
yes.
people in. But you have to be. One thing Africans say they don't want to share information is they want to be careful about how close to get to people, how much they help people.
Mm,
They're afraid of every relationship has an end, right?
yes.
Whether you die off or it breaks up before you die.
Hmm.
But everyone is afraid of it breaking up before they die. So they're
Right.
afraid of what could come of that relationship. But I think if you go to it with an open mind and know that if whatever happens, it's acceptable, it's okay. But if you don't try to help anyone, you will help no one.
Oh,
Like if you don't,
zero.
if you don't put in an effort, like not all your relationships will go well. And everyone you help is going to realize that you've helped them.
Yes.
And I've seen that myself. I mean, I knew a guy from Arizona 7 years ago. No longer than that, probably over 10 years ago now.
Yes. Yes.
He just called me out of the blue. I was still at UMass Lowell at the time, at college. And he said, "Hey, man, I'm very sorry with the way I treated you." And I said, "Oh, no problem, man." And he said, "You're one of the kindest people to me." And for some reason, I didn't know why I treated you that way. He didn't really
Um.
treat me bad, but he had like
Yeah.
an attitude where he didn't want to talk to me. Something didn't go well for him and was like annoyed, and I'm the one to blame, which I understand how someone could feel that way. And trust me, I
Mm,
feel that way too. But my point is to tell you what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. And that doesn't mean it's going to work out for you the same.
yeah.
It might
Yes.
not. But
Yes.
my responsibility is to tell you. And I can't hold myself guilty
Yes.
to your endeavors not working out. You know what I'm saying to you? And
Yes.
that's my mindset. But it takes a long time to get to that mindset. So
Yes.
that's why a lot of Africans don't want to talk and don't want to educate people because they're
That's
actually
true.
afraid of that end result there.
Well, that's not your case,
No.
because from hello, you've proven this close to a decade now. From hello, you educated me. From the day we met, from hi, and you started to know who I was and what I do, and you started educating me. So you've proven that this is your model. You want to teach, you want to share information, and this is a start. I'm gonna get you again because I have to. Because I'm
Absolutely.
you have to come back,
Absolutely.
bro.
Absolutely.
Thank you for this.
No,
Thank you for this time.
thank you so much. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it, man.